Today, I am going to give you some tips on how you can save some money when you travel to Japan. Hi everyone! Today, I am going to give you some tips on how you can save some money when you travel to Japan. These tips are based from our experience when we visited Japan in 2019 at around New Year's time. Even though I know it's been more than 2 years ago, but you can still find these tips useful whenever you visit Japan after the pandemic. You may find some of these tips useful not only when traveling to Japan as well, but also to other countries. So here are the tips on how you can save some money when visiting Japan. Let's go to tip number 1. My very first tip is multi-city. This tip is actually good for those who want to do a side trip aside from their final destination. No, that's not what I mean. For example, when my partner and I planned to visit the Philippines, which is our home country, we decided to visit Japan as well. I really wanted to see Japan since I was young, and so do my partner. Hence, we decided to check how much does a flight would cost us going to Tokyo and going to Manila. When we checked, the return ticket from Auckland to Manila was about 1,500 New Zealand dollars, and a separate flight from Manila to Tokyo was at around 500 New Zealand dollars. In total, that was around 2,000 New Zealand dollars. But then, when we tried to search for a multi-city, of course through the internet, we found that the multi-city flights between the two cities would only cost around 1,800 New Zealand dollars. Imagine how much we saved from doing a multi-city. That was around 200 New Zealand dollars. And you can use that money for something else. That $200 New Zealand dollars can really make a big difference. And tip number 2. Tip number 2, look for a deal and bargain. My second tip is very general. It's very applicable for almost anything, and aside from just traveling. Of course, part of the tip is you have to look for a deal. When we were looking for flights, we checked for the cheap flights through Skyscanner, which is quite common. The flight that we found, like what I've said previously, was around $1,800 per person for multi-city destination. Then what we did was we went to a travel company or a travel agent. When we got there, we told the person that we found this cheap flight on the internet and if they have something better. Unfortunately, at that time, they didn't have a cheaper flight, but they beat the price by offering us $50 lower than what we found. That was $50 less per person, which was not bad at all. So that was like $100 savings for me and my partner, which is quite good. And you can also do that as well when you're trying to check for flights. Go through Skyscanner or whatever search engine you want, like Hopper or anything else. Check for a cheaper flight and then go to a travel center and see if they could beat that price. Tip number 3. Buy a JR Pass. JR Pass stands for Japan Railway Pass. It provides an unlimited ride to any trains all over Japan. We found the JR Pass quite useful because when you do not have a JR Pass, so this is if you don't have a JR Pass, a train ticket from Narita International Airport to Tokyo, to the main city of Tokyo, it will cost about $24 or 36 New Zealand dollars. Then, if you will take the bullet train from Tokyo to Kyoto, that would be another $130 or 195 New Zealand dollars. Those prices do not include your other train rides yet. So imagine that those prices are just for the travel between those cities. If you're gonna travel around Japan and you're gonna take the train during your travel, that would cost more than that. On the other hand, with the JR Pass, you can travel to anywhere in Japan for only $252 or 376 New Zealand dollars for 7 days, and that is unlimited. You can ride any trains that you want that is under the JR Pass. And majority of the trains in Japan actually accept JR Pass. However, this is only ideal if you will be traveling between different regions like Southern Kanto region, where Tokyo is located, and the Kansai region, where Kyoto, Narita, and Osaka are situated. If you plan to stay in just one region, for example, the Kansai region, where Nara, Kyoto, and Osaka are, and just go around the cities of Kyoto, Nara, and Osaka, which are pretty amazing places to visit, you may just need to buy their regional pass, which also offers unlimited train rides just within that region. The other regions in Japan also have their own regional pass. In my description down below, there's a link on how to go to JR Pass, and I've also included the link for the regional passes of the other regions in Japan. And now let's proceed to tip number 4. Tip number 4. Tip number 4 is Kombini. If you have watched all my Japan vlogs, you have probably observed that we often bought our foods from Kombini. Kombini is the Japanese word for the convenience store. Between restaurants and Kombinis, the foods in the convenience store are way cheaper. The good thing I like about their Kombini is they got almost all kinds of meals. You can buy a ramen, a pack of sushi, a bento, technically anything that you can buy from a restaurant at a cheaper price. For example, a ramen in Japan would only cost 400 yen in the Kombini, but it would cost you around 800 yen if you try to buy it from the restaurants. But of course, there are some restaurants in Japan that are worth spending a bit more money for the experience, such as the robot restaurant, the digital art restaurants, and a lot more. Next tip, and our last tip for today, tip number 5, good hotel deals. Considering that it was holiday season when we visited Japan, you will also expect that all the hotels will be pricey, which is, yes, I will agree to that, except for one reason. We diligently looked for an excellent hotel deal 3 months before our expected arrival in Japan. In my video description below, I put the link on where I found the cheap hotel deals. The hotel we stayed at in Kyoto was a 4.5-star hotel, which was the Hotel Vischio Kyoto by Granvia. Their amenities were pretty good for a 4.5 star. They have a gym, sauna, hot and cold pool, a sophisticated restaurant, and more. The thing that I really love about this hotel is their toiletries because it is unlimited. You can grab as many as you want in the lobby. And please take note that this hotel, we only got it for $100 a night. And we stayed there for 4 nights. So it's really cheap considering that it's holiday season, and most of the hotels in Japan at around that time for a 4.5-star hotel will cost you $250 to $300 a night. So the deal that we got was really cheap, and you can use the link below to check for more deals if you're planning to travel somewhere else. Those are the 5 tips that I can give you on how to save money when traveling to Japan. Please note that those are based from our experience when we traveled there. The prices are still pretty much the same when I checked them yesterday on the internet. So there you go. You are welcome to try these tips. Please put your comment or questions down below, and I will try to answer them as much as I could. Please also remind me if I missed anything in the comment. And don't forget to watch my other vlogs. Hit that like button and subscribe. I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.